So let's take a look at something called intermarket arbitrage. Intermarket arbitrage exists because in the currency market, you have multiple participants, each offering their own quotes for trading at different currency prices. So for example, Bank A over here might trade currency. Bank B might be willing to buy and sell as well. But they, at any given point, at any given second or minute, they may not offer exactly the same rate. One bank might be a little bit better, and another bank might be a little less competitive in terms of the rate it's offering. And it's not just going to offer one single rate. The bank's going to offer multiple currency pairs as well. So this leads to a potential for some arbitrage, because if the prices are just slightly different at one bank versus another, you can quickly buy or sell from that bank, turn around and sell that currency to another bank where prices are better. So that's the idea between intermarket arbitrage, taking advantage of just price differentials that may occur over a short period of time. And this works in the currency market because prices are fragmented. They tend to, exchanges are one place where you can trade currency, but much of the currency trading actually takes place among individual banks over the counter. So let's take a look at how this might work in practice with some numbers. I'm going to list 3 banks here: Citibank, National Westminster, and Deutsche Bank. And each is offering a different currency rate. Notice how Citibank is offering dollars per pounds, National Westminster is offering euros per pounds, and Deutsche Bank is offering something different, dollars per euros. So we can see if there's an arbitrage opportunity here by doing the following. Essentially, we have different ways we can go, but we're going to start out with one currency, switch it to another, and then see if we can loop back around back to that original currency. So let's start out supposing that we have $1 million to try and capitalize on this opportunity and just test things out. So starting with $1 million, it looks like since we have dollars, we can either convert at Deutsche Bank into euros, or we can convert those dollars into Citibank into pounds. So that's our next step. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Citibank and see where it takes us. So if this is the rate, then that $1 million multiplied by that exchange rate is going to give us, from dollars into pounds, an amount which should be less than $1 million. Because if 1 pound buys $1.5, then if we're going from dollars to pounds, we should have something less than that. Less than that means dividing, so 1 million pounds divided by 1.59, $1 million divided by 1.59 means that in pounds, I'm ending up with 628,456 of them. So that's the first step. I've gone from starting out to one leg of this. I've gone from into dollars into pounds. And then the next step, I need to convert those pounds into something else. One thing I notice is that National Westminster is offering pounds in exchange for euros, or vice versa. So I can take my pounds here and exchange them for euros at National Westminster. So 628,000 of those, going from pounds to euros, a bigger number, so I multiply, gets me an amount of euros equal to 756,850. Almost done. I've completed the next leg of this journey, and I just need to close it up. I've got euros. I need to convert those euros back into dollars to complete that final leg. And here is where I notice Deutsche Bank is offering to trade euros in exchange for dollars, dollars in exchange for euros at that rate here. So that's the bank I'm going to go to next. And finally, I'm going to convert at Deutsche Bank euros back to dollars. So that kind of closes the loop here. And I'm going to convert those 756,000 euros into dollars at an exchange rate at Deutsche Bank of 75 cents per euro. So if 1 euro equals 75 cents, I know if I'm going from euros and dollars, that number should be less than what you see here. So I'm going to multiply by 0.7542 to get the amount of dollars that this gets converted to. And that number is equal to 570,816. And so in this case, I don't have an arbitrage. I started out at $1 million and I ended up round trip at 570,000. But this doesn't mean that there's no arbitrage opportunity here. Anytime there's a price differential among these three banks, there's an opportunity for profit. It's just that I took it the wrong way. So I, in other words, closed the loop here. I went from dollars all the way back around to dollars, but maybe I didn't take the right path to get there. And so to illustrate that, let's just take one more path. Let's reverse time here. And recall at the beginning of this, when I started out with dollars, I could have taken two options. I could have converted those dollars with Citibank at this rate in pounds, or I could have taken those dollars and gone directly to Deutsche Bank and received euros. And I had taken this approach, gone to Citibank, but let's see what happens if I instead go to Deutsche Bank, converting those dollars into euros. Putting this path here aside for the moment, call it path number 2. Path number 1 is still going to start out with $1 million in starting capital, but this time it's going to convert dollars into euros. If this is the rate of euros per dollar, then if we're going from dollars to euros, we're going to multiply 0.7542 at the Deutsche Bank rate. Actually, sorry, we're going to divide, because if you see, we multiplied here, and that went from euros to dollars. This time we're going from dollars to euros. So we're going to divide by that 0.75, because going from dollars to euros, we should end up with a bigger number. And in doing so, we end up with 1.325 million euros. And then we take those euros and find a buyer for them in this second leg here. In this case, it looks like the only other buyer is going to be National Westminster, and we're going to get pounds in exchange for euros. Going from euros to pounds, we see that we're going to get a smaller number. So take our euros and divide them by this exchange rate offered at National Westminster of 1.2043 to convert them into the equivalent amount in pounds. That gets us along our second leg of the journey here. And then the final step is to take those pounds and convert them back into dollars. So we take our 1.1 million pounds and find a buyer for them willing to exchange for dollars. And it looks like that's going to be Citibank. We've already dealt with Deutsche Bank and Westminster, and the one remaining, Citibank's offering $1.59 for every pound that we trade them. If I'm going from pounds to dollars, then I know this number is going to be larger. So this pound figure going to dollars is going to be multiplied by this exchange rate that Citibank is offering of $1.5912 per pound. And that total is going to equal $1.75 million. So on a round trip then, I'm starting with $1 million, and by trading with the right sequence of banks, I'm ending up with $1.75 million for a $750,000 approximately profit. It's just that the key differentiation between a profitable arbitrage strategy and an unprofitable one is that I had to find the right sequence of banks to trade with. But by picking the right path, I was able to produce a triangular arbitrage or intermarket arbitrage. And it's worth noting that these figures, these differences were quite large loss or profit. In reality, the chance for arbitrage profit tends to cause these prices to converge in markets. And so while arbitrage opportunities exist, they tend to be smaller than these types of profit levels that you see here. These large differences here are just to illustrate, but in markets they tend to be smaller. And triangular arbitrage, it's something that exists not just in currencies, but anytime you have a fragmented market where the same good, it's currency, is being bought and sold in different locations. So cryptocurrency markets are like this as well. You'll have different exchanges offering the same thing, Bitcoin versus USD, Bitcoin versus Ethereum, and yet prices between these exchanges will diverge, sometimes a lot, sometimes by a little, from each other. And especially during the early beginnings of the cryptocurrency market, there was large opportunities for triangular arbitrage. But as the market has become bigger, have a lot more market participants and more sophisticated investors and algorithms, while arbitrage opportunities still exist in the cryptocurrency market, they tend to be smaller in value and more fleeting in nature. But this triangular arbitrage idea, is something that persists across many different markets. So keep your eyes peeled